Hello, Chuck Grigsby, G Unity Worldwide. We are back at it. We are doing the Keen Project. Thank you for tuning in. I'm just honored to be able to have an opportunity to share with you some of this great stuff that I've been reading and getting involved with when it comes to the project. And today, I'm going to jump right into the quote. We must build dikes of courage to hold back the flood of fear. We must build dikes of courage to hold back the flood of fear. To me, in my opinion, Dr. King was a fear master. He was able to look fear in the eye and be able to have the courage to be able to move forward and do his thing and be a part and change a lot of our history as we know it today. I wanted to pick out a great example of history and how a certain group of people really built that dike of courage and really addressed their fear. That was actually before Dr. Martin Luther King's time. There was a little parade that happened in 1913 by a group of women, Southern women mostly, and this parade was called the Women's Suffrage Parade. Officially, I believe it's called the Women's Suffrage Procession. But this parade was organized by a lady named Alice Paul and another lady named Lucy Burns. And they were chairmen of the National American Suffrage Association. So they were key players within this group, key leaders in that group, and they were the big organizers of this campaign. And basically it was a well-timed campaign and a movement, a nonviolent one, because it was supposed to take place the day before the inauguration of Woodrow Wilson. And this parade was a parade in order for these women to be able to have the opportunity to be involved in our American history. It was modeled after the British suffrage campaign and the movement that was really associated with the history prior to what they had going on there. There was a lot of controversy going on within this parade. When they announced this parade out to the public, another group of individuals announced that they wanted to be a part of it and they were planning on participating. And this group was African American women. And these women were very proud and they were very willing to be a part of this movement. But once the National Association, Suffrage Association people, especially Alice Paul herself, found out and got wind that these African American women were going to participate, it was a big deal. And it really almost jeopardized the whole movement within itself. A lot of the people who were going to be involved with this movement found out the African Americans were going to be involved with it. And so they were going to protest their own protest and not take part in it. And this is where it goes back to the quote of how we must build dikes of courage to hold back the flood of fear. There is a lady that is a part of history that is really not a part of history that I believe was a key player in advocating the participation of African American women in this movement, in this parade. And her name was Anna Shaw. She was a physician and an ordained minister as well, who was also a respected member and leader within the association itself. And to me, and without her participation and her leadership of standing up and advocating and insisting that African American women be involved, I believe that maybe our history would be a little bit different, or possibly this whole campaign would have never have happened at the time that it did. And what I mean by her standing up, she had everything to lose, I believe, and nothing really to gain by really enforcing and embracing African American women to really be a part of this campaign. Now, the whole controversy that comes along with it was, how much the African American women were able to participate. They wanted them to be segregated from the white women and all these different things. But there was some type of compromise, and there is a little debate on how actually they did represent themselves and how they were able to kind of be a part of this movement, but they were there. And that's the most important key aspect of what I believe Anna Shaw really makes this whole thing beautiful when it comes to really standing up in the face of fear. So what really, the thing that I really wanted to kind of really emphasize with this movement was that you have to think about the times of really where they were at. Women were really considered, second-class people, and they didn't have very many opportunities to really be a part of change or improvement or government or voting or anything. And this was really a great chance for them in history to really make an impact on that. And they certainly did that once they did come to a compromise. The groups of women that were allowed to participate, the African American women, I believe it was a sorority from Howard University, a sorority called Alpha Delta Sigma, and then the National Association of Colored Women were the three groups that were involved with this march. Now this march and onto the Capitol and really the demographic behind it was, you have to understand that it was a male-dominated situation. So as they were organizing and doing their thing and getting ready to do their thing on the Capitol, they were met with heavy resistance and no support from the local police. And so you had a whole bunch of hostile men who were yelling obscenities, harassment, and doing all kinds of different things to detour the movement and the cause that they were doing. So it was very hostile. I think over 200 people went to the hospital. I believe, the count of total women that were involved with the march is anywhere from 5,000 to 8,000 people who were involved with this. And it was a really big deal, a really combative big deal when it comes to really these women standing up for themselves for change. It was so bad, in fact, that the National Guard had to get involved and really provide somewhat of some protection. I believe the National Guard people that were involved were from the Massachusetts National Guard and the Pennsylvania National Guard were involved with helping some of these women be able to be safe and kind of really be involved with this. But even after that, these women were unable to kind of do their thing and unable to be safe like they needed to be. They didn't have still the support they needed to be successful in this campaign, in this march towards the Capitol. And so there was this group from Maryland, the Agricultural College group of boys, literally formed a wall, a human wall for these women to really march down Pennsylvania Avenue. And it's just really crazy to me that, it took a group of college students from the Agricultural College of Maryland to really build this wall, human wall, for these women to kind of do their thing and really be successful within this. And I just believe that is another great opportunity in history to see how these boys stepped up and really built the dikes of courage and really addressed the fear when it comes to social change. And I just was really, really surprised and really delighted to kind of see how the circumstances of how this all went down to really come out and really be part of what we now know as our history, and that really contributing towards the 19th Amendment and having women have the opportunity to vote and be considered first-class citizens as well. Now, when you think about their impact on history, you think about the template they set for Dr. King and some of the different things he did, you have to really respect it and really honor that, because you know that he was probably a very great student of history, a great student of being able to kind of see some of the different things that had happened as far as it would come down to people marching on the Capitol and being successful. And I believe these women in this group and this movement was a great piece of history for him to be able to build off of and really be successful in his own right when it comes to some of the different things that he did. Another little last tidbit that I want to give to you that was really special to me when I read this was that this movement of 1913, these ladies, these women, these strong women, now today we have planned in 2020 that this whole campaign, this whole movement is going to be captured on the $10 bill that's going to be redone in 2020. And I just thought that was amazing, because I just know that in 1913 that these women could not comprehend the impact that they would have today and into the future, and when it comes to change and improvement, when it comes to equality. So, again, a great example by Dr. King's quote, "We must build dikes of courage to hold back the flood of fear." Truly, truly, truly epic and truly amazing. Again, this is the King Project. I'm so happy to be able to share with you some great things from Dr. King. This was a little bit different. It was really directly associated with some different things he did, but I do believe it is a part of history and a part of what really affected his success and some of the different things that happened before him and the marches on to Washington. Chuck Grigsby, G Unity Worldwide. We are doing the King Project. Thank you for tuning in, and we love what we're doing. And we love the fact that you guys are tuning in and supporting us and doing what we do. G Unity Worldwide, thank you so much. Bye-bye.